Well, we're back to talk spoilers for Fences. Spoilers, it was not a very enjoyable experience. It's a play. They shot a play. And, you know, at 2 hours plus, they were just zipping by to get it, in there. If this were a stage play with an intermission or two, it'd probably be a 3-hour affair. Whereas they got this movie down to 2 hours, and a lot of that was making Denzel Washington's character talk super, super fast. A lot of the beats I saw coming, but then a lot of it, like, again, I've seen a number of plays that are like this, and it's just sort of this family drama or generational,
struggle.
Yeah. Passing down a problem from generation to generation sort of thing.
I mean, it was paint by numbers. It was so basic. And it didn't excel at anything. I didn't come away from this changed in any way or with any new ideas. It was just meh.
It was another person's story that is similar to anyone else's story back then or to this day that can be translated, I had to work hard. I had a dream. I lived my dream. I didn't succeed. Therefore, I want you to do better. I'm not going to ever tell you that I love you, but I love you. I'm going to give you the tough love.
Yeah.
Type of deal. So, I mean, it wasn't anything that was unheard of or new. You can't really, whenever he decided to have a relationship with another woman, like Viola Davis's character, she was just like, all right, well, I'm going to stand with you and I'm going to be with you. I mean, I didn't have any, no, you should leave, or I would do, I had no fight. From a female standpoint, I was just like, well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about making choices for how to adapt a play into a movie is in the play format, it makes sense that we're rooted in one location, because that's what makes sense in a play, is that, they've got the backyard and they've got the house, and that's what you would see on the stage. It makes sense that you never meet the other woman in a play.
Yeah.
Not so much in a movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite work in the movie. It helps you just kind of ignore that to a degree, so that when the baby comes, you're more, and when the death of the mother comes, you're more invested in the baby. You're not thinking about what a jerk Denzel Washington was.
Yeah.
And then, the whole thing builds up to the very, the scene that is going to happen in this movie, which is the father-son fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes about exactly the way you would predict it would go.
He became age. He's not afraid of his father. He's not afraid of son. Yada yada, so on.
Yeah.
So forth.
But he's also not willing to, kill his father over it. And so he holds back and he loses the fight. Physically loses the fight and walks away, kind of thing.
I definitely think that, like you said earlier, other parts, even if they could have shown, a snippet of him getting off of work and going and meeting this other woman, even if they didn't show her face, they could have shown, shots of her belly or the back of her or something. Him leaving in the morning or leaving after he's...
Yeah. There were points where, you're literally looking at the back of Denzel Washington's head as he talks out a window. That's just ridiculous. That's just to a degree of, really, you couldn't stage this any better for the screen? You couldn't think of anything better to do with this?
Well, what about the scene where his best friend comes and talks to him about the other woman? They essentially have Viola Davis step to the back of the stage and they step forward, so they're in another room. And she can't hear what they're saying, even though she's 10 feet away. It was horribly shot.
they're gonna do a play, I guess, for this one, they should have just shot the play.
Yeah, well, I mean, and just thinking about, like, adaptations, like, an interesting way to adapt this would have been to remove about a quarter of the dialogue
Do voiceovers.
and take some of the stories that he's telling. The story he tells about his dad trying to rape that 13-year-old girl. Like, show that sequence in there. It's not that it just, like, has to be shown to be, you know, to be believed or to be understandable, or that it's more powerful if it's shown, but it's more interesting. Mm-hmm. And that's the big problem with this movie, is that, like, there's nothing wrong with the ideas, there's nothing wrong with the story or the dialogue, it's just delivered in the least interesting way possible.
Show us, not tell us.
Yeah.
It's like you're sitting around listening to somebody's story the entire time. And somebody else, this is my part to speak. This is my part to speak. And it goes so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much that they need to say without, they could have, you know, just shown us.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. But, I mean, and then if they had actually done it as a play would be performed, there would be spaces in there for emotion and for, you know, more characterization and all that kind of stuff. And it would have been a 3-hour movie. And they couldn't let it do that, you know. No one would see this if it were 3 hours long. So,
honestly, I wouldn't want to see it again, knowing what I know with how brutally long that was.
I felt every minute.
Yeah. Like, about halfway through, I'm like, dear God, just end.
yeah, it was tough. I felt like the beginning was the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
The initial, like, exposition dump of getting to know Denzel Washington's character through his just what's basically
Friday
a monologue
night
for the
drink.
first, like, 15 his Friday night drink.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on.
That was so taxing. Like, when that scene's done, you're just, I'm tired, I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's more. And
And he has a couple more monologues through that.
And it would have been better, like, each time he opened up a new bottle of gin, he would pour some out. But, like, if he would have said, I'm pouring this out for X, or I'm pouring this out for blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, because they, like, the second time he did it, they, like, got a shot of him pouring it out. No other heads were seen. Just pouring that out. I'm like, I think that was an important moment, but I'm not sure. And it was never touched upon, so
Yeah.
maybe we're just gonna say yes. And then just move on.
Yeah.
But
Like, the level of adaptation is, you know,
Yeah.
like the shot of him feeding his brother applesauce or whatever. I'm sure that's not in the play.
yeah.
Because that was a totally visual... Like, you can't communicate that that's what's happening in a play, but you can do it in a movie. Like, those sorts of things. And, like, when they finally did, like, the first time-lapse, and, like, 6 months went by or whatever, and it's like, hey, a movie! There's a movie going on. They're looking out the window, the seasons are changing. Can actually see the face in the window.
Viola Davis is crying again.
Yeah, not my favorite. But yeah, that's Fences. If you like when we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.